Hello, and welcome back to my first YouTube video. Today, I'm going to be playing some of the worst VR video games to find out if you could still have a good quality time while playing some good quality games. Our first game we're going to be playing today is Dream Pets VR. My hopes for this game were that it would be something similar to Nintendogs, but more immersive because it's VR. But based off of these reviews, I have a feeling I'm going to be a little bit let down. So our first review is from Sloth Goes Meow, who just says no. And 22 people found this review to be helpful. It's a one-worded review, yet it's still helpful to some people. Moving on to Fast Lawyer said, I believe I got this game in a VR bundle for about 50 cents. And that would be about right for the price of this game. It's nowhere near being worth $4.99 USD. You could finish the whole game in about 2 minutes. You could replay the game, but it would be about the same experience. Yeah, that doesn't seem too promising for me because I did spend $4.99 on this game and I did not get it in a bundle. Alright, last one I'm going to read is from Backing Hazard. I mean, it's probably fun for very young kids, but otherwise it's like 2 minutes long. Oh, this does not seem promising for me. That's the second person that said that the game is only 2 minutes long, which can be pretty disappointing. I typically like my video games to last longer than 2 minutes. With the reviews being read, I think it's time we get into the gameplay. When you first get into the game, you're greeted by some bright and inviting colors. It feels happy. And this just obnoxiously loud lab that would probably make your ears bleed. And I made sure that he was not the first dog I picked as my option of dog, which is the first part that we get into. I was actually off-center for the beginning of the game. Why am I off-centered? How do I go there? And I couldn't figure out how to get it fixed for a little while. But while I was off-center, I got to experience being able to pet the very loud lab since I was able to just pass right through the window and just start playing with him. Not that he interacted with me whatsoever. I feel like that would be an important part of an immersive experience, is having a body within the game that you can see. Otherwise, you feel like you don't exist. After restarting the game and actually getting into center, I was able to pick my dog, which is the first step of the game, followed by getting to dress my dog. You're given some clothing options, some sunglasses options. Yeah, let's make you real pretty. Honestly, there's not that many combinations that you can make, and I'm also not gonna calculate how many combinations there are, because I don't think that that's what brings value to the game. The last thing you do after dressing your dog is spray them with perfume, as if that's something that you would actually do to your dog. I feel very bad for any person that's ever sprayed their dog with perfume because they have such sensitive noses. I feel like that would damage one of their most vital senses. But hey, it's a video game. Once you have your dog all dressed up and you've basically pepper sprayed them with perfume, you get to take a picture of this dog now. And I don't know what happens to the picture because you just take the picture and then you never see it again. You don't interact with the picture, it's not saved to your device at all, at least not that I know of, and you just move on to the next step of the game, which is Fetch. When playing Fetch, you realize just how lifeless these dogs are. They look so happy, which gives it a very eerie feeling. I came to a realization that if the dog wasn't there for this part of the game probably would have been about the same because you just throw the frisbee and aim for a certain spot on the field. And if the dog's not there, then you still can get the points. You know, the dog is basically just a decoration at that point. Grabbing the frisbee and then bringing it back. 1, 2, 3. Why? She's tired, I guess. I ended up going on to dress and play with every single dog, and the experience was the same for every single one. And yes, the game was about 2 minutes long. And it probably could be faster if you just made the selections really quick. Hopefully the next game is better. Our second game is Granny's Grandtastic Grandventure. God, I hope that's the last time I have to say that name. Basically, it's exactly what the title describes. You are a granny who is grandtastic and you get to go on a grand venture. To break it down, you're an old lady that loses her grandchildren and has to solve puzzles and what they call dank memes in order to rescue them. Let's see why people hated this game. Fast Lawyer said, this is potentially a good game. However, it's ruined by the wheelchair mechanic. Is there a mechanic in the game that fixes your wheelchair? He just doesn't do a very good job. Which I found very frustrating and made it impossible for me to navigate the fourth stage. Trying to get past those huge swinging hammers, no matter what I tried, I never had enough speed. I tried various ways and each time it felt like I was driving a shopping cart with one wheel that's broken. Basically, Fast Lawyer sounds like you weren't very good at the game and are upset about it. Here's a positive review from Nuclear Cuteness. Unlike most VR games that take you to an unrealistic experience that ends too quickly, GGG actually gives you a sense of immersion and depth that lets you forget it's a game and makes you feel like you're actually a grandma. So I guess it's more of a grandma simulator than it is a game. You'll experience the hardships like using a wheelchair and having to get yourself up after falling to the floor while your grandkids run around you being useless. I don't know why reading those reviews was so exhausting, but I think it's time we move on to the gameplay. During the opening credits of this game, the company that made this game, which is Lazy Morning Games, was crossed out for some odd reason and replaced with Spooky Nightmare Games, which is a continuing theme during the rest of this game. I think what happened is the game got updated to some Halloween edition and never got reverted back to the original game, which would be fine, except it made the game extremely dark, and I don't mean scary dark, I mean it just made it impossible to see anything. No wonder Patrice is struggling to find her grandkids because it is so dark you can't see a thing, and Patrice, you're an old lady. So in this game, at least we have a full body minus a head. My head was just, somehow I was able to look at my own body, and I don't know how I was able to do this, but I was able to look at my own body and just see that I had a nub on where my head was supposed to be. No head, just a nub. And that was unsettling, but at least the majority of the game I'm not looking at that disgusting nub. Sorry, Patrice, but your nub creeped me out. After figuring out how to maneuver the wheelchair, which is pretty difficult because you have to be pretty exact with your hand placement, you roll over to this red spot that's on the floor, which I assumed was just a platform that you roll onto and then you get into the actual game. But nope, this is a hole. And it's not just this portion of the game that you experience this, but at every level of the game, there's a red hole at the end that you fall into, and it's so disorienting. Your entire body feels as if it's supposed to be falling because that's what your eyes see, is a body falling, which I guess your brain kind of connects that it's your body that's falling, which makes sense, brain, I don't blame you. And you fall into this red hole, and then you just pop up in your next mission, which is to just go and fall into another red hole. Gash Basher, I completely agree with you. I too was about to fall to my knees while my inner ear gets player with. I could not believe how sick this game made me feel. For the next 2 hours after playing this game, I was laying down feeling as if I was about to vomit. And anytime I got up, I felt like vomiting. And anytime I tried to eat something, I felt like vomiting. Which is what you always want out of a game that you play. I have to say, if you get nauseous fairly easily, do not play this game. But YouTubers, if you want your new challenge, I've seen some YouTubers survive some VR challenges where they stay in VR for a certain amount of time. I'd like to see you outlast me. I went for about an hour, I think, in this game. I'd like to see how long somebody can go while playing Granny's Grandtastic Grandventure. That is a challenge. Let's see who's up to it. Throughout the game, there's these weird messages that are written on the walls, and you would think that at some point it's gonna come together and make sense, which for me, it didn't. But that could be because I had to stop the game early due to the nausea. I did make it further than Fast Lawyer by completing the axe mission. Okay. Oh, we did it. Yes. That's right, Fast Lawyer. Suck on those axes. After completing the axes, I got to this mission that was basically just rolling Patrice off of a cliff and aiming for this red hole. And I was able to complete that one as well, but after that mission, I was so nauseous, and I think it was that mission that did it. I wanted to continue. I even tried to continue during the mission after that, and I just couldn't do it. And that was a wrap for Granny's Grandtastic Grandventure. I hope I never have to play that game again, and I hope other people use it as a challenge and actually do consider playing it, unless you get sick. Maybe I should just put a disclaimer. Our last game we're going to be playing is a game called VR Prison Escape. It sounds like a game where you get to experience escaping prison. Who wouldn't love that? Show this game to your enemies and use it as a torture device. Sums up this game perfectly. it can't be as bad as Granny's Grandtastic Grandventure. I gotta say, can't be as bad. And then Mellow Ape said, given I only played the first level, but from what I played, it's not good. No offense to the maker of the game. Love you. I just don't love this game. Oh, that's actually pretty sweet, Mellow Ape. Now, with the reviews read, let's just get into the game and see if it's as bad as people say. When you first load the game, you are in your cell, as you would expect. So far it looks good other than the fact that I don't have hands. I'm in my cell. And you get to pick between level 1 and level 2. Then, after selecting level 1, I was able to move around my cell and see how the controls work in the game. One thing I found very weird about this game is that your hand movements don't control the hand movements of the player. The only way to move the player's hands in the game is to hit a button that causes him to punch, and the only other function other than punching in this game is opening doors, and in order to unlock the doors, you also don't move your hands. Now, once I got my cell door open, I was greeted by some very nice inmates, some big guys. Whoa. Oh man, who apparently wanted to stop me from breaking out of prison. Don't know why an inmate would want to stop you from breaking out of prison, but apparently they really didn't want me to leave. So you're sort of forced to fight them. I say sort of because I did figure out later on in the game that you can just avoid fighting them by keeping a certain distance from them. Once you get a certain distance from them, they're just like, I don't know, that's too far. I just want to see. Oh, there he is. Okay. I distracted him. And it is what I ended up doing for getting through a lot of the game. I just got tired of having to punch people. So yeah, I just avoided confrontation. Wow. After defeating all the inmates in my cell block, I was expecting to come across some police officers maybe that would try and stop me from breaking out of prison, but at no point in the game is there a single police officer. In the first level, you're in a police station, and I saw no police officers. Ow. I saw a lot of police equipment, but the police station was completely abandoned. Starting to believe that maybe that there was like a zombie apocalypse of some sorts, and the only people that survived were the people that were trapped in the prison, so the zombies couldn't get to them. But now it's just me because I killed all of them. I did try to see if the walls would just let me pass through them, like in Dream Pets VR, but in the first level, it did not let me do that. Somehow get the game to glitch so I could just get through this wall. Now, since the only real challenge in the first level was opening my cell door and fighting a few prisoners, I was really hoping that level 2 would have more in store. So now one pro to level 2 was that the prison was much larger, and so finding an escape would take longer. I don't even have to unlock. Oh, God. This is where they strap people down, and you know what? I'm not gonna take any guesses at what they were trying to do here. After wandering the prison for a short time, I was able to find an escape, but I don't think it's how the game creators intended, because I kind of just passed through one of the gates. Just walk through it. Oh, I didn't mean that seriously. As if I was some sort of ghost, and just left the prison. But it didn't tell me that I won, so it didn't feel satisfying enough to feel like I completed the game. One interesting thing about when I wandered off is there wasn't like a border or a limit to how far I could go. And in the distance, I saw this beach, and it looked pretty nice, so I thought I'd go to the beach before I restart the game and see if I could actually complete it correctly. And I just fell off the map. And I fell into what seemed like a stock image that they probably just pulled off of Google. I gotta say, it looked incredible wherever this stock image is. If I could find out where this image is, I do want to visit at some point, because they had water slides that just were floating on the beach, along with banana boats, and I love banana boats. No matter how much I looked for the end of the level of where I had completed the game, I could not find it. I even went underneath the prison, and just to get a complete look of the layout, yeah, I ended up going through another wall and finding a way to observe the entire prison, and at no point did I see an area that looked like this is where the game is completed. They forgot to put an end to the game, which I think is pretty genius. Because if you never feel like you completed the game, you can't really complain that there's only 2 levels. However, I did want that sense of accomplishment, and so I needed to find that sense of accomplishment somewhere else. What I ended up finding was, I think, even better than a hey, you completed the game. I was able to send a huge prison bus just soaring into the sky. It was some glitch in the game. I don't know how or why I was able to move this one bus, but if I punched it enough, it would just soar into the sky. And it was just beautiful to see. And I just pretended that the people on the beach were able to see a flying bus just flying over them. And that was the only sense of accomplishment that I had during this game. And then I continued to escape prison once again, falling off of the map and pretending like I ended up at the beach, which is the greatest success that you could have. Feels like a movie-like ending. You just escape prison and you're on this beautiful beach with banana boats. And now I get to go enjoy some banana boats and some boats with some slides on them. I'm gonna call it an end to that game. Thank you, VR Prison Escape, for that experience. Now, to close out, I think I want to give an award to the worst VR game, and there's only one that could get the award of worst VR game. It was a game that made me extremely nauseous. I think you guys know where I'm going with this. I gotta say, Granny's Fantastic Adventure, you have won the worst VR game. Congratulations, everyone, they did it. They worked hard for it, I'm sure. But to close out, all the games, joking aside, all the games were fun. Even GGG was fun. I hope that I could get some feedback. I know it's my first YouTube video, but if I could get some feedback from the audience of what you thought of this video, if you think I could improve in certain areas, don't even sugarcoat it, just tell me exactly what you didn't like. And if you did make it through this video, I just want to say thank you for watching the whole thing. And to close out, I will now be singing the national anthem. God bless.